Okay, so good morning. We have week 5, polynomial, exponential, logarithmic functions. So we're going to talk about what is polynomial, and the polynomial pretty much looks like this. So polynomial is a function which looks like number x with exponent plus number or minus number x with exponent and so on. Okay, so this is one example of polynomial. You have terms, different terms, and each term have number, coefficient, and x with exponent. Okay, so it looks like this. The highest exponent of the polynomial, so here in this example, the highest exponent is 5. The highest exponent is called degree of the polynomial. And how many terms you have, it's going to tell you how many terms is that polynomial. Okay, so we're going to talk about polynomial. Also, we're going to talk about exponential function. And exponential function and logarithmic function, these two functions, exponent and logarithm, they're opposite operations. So exponent is, for example, if I have, let's say, 2 with exponent 5, or technically you have like 3 with exponent x. This is exponential function, and the first one is operation exponent, what exponent means, right? And logarithm function looks like logarithm with base, let's say 3 of x. So this is logarithmic function, this is exponential function, and the opposite operation. So this is exponential function, this is logarithmic function, and the opposite operation to each other. The same way like square root and square. The same way like cube root and what? Cube, right? Like positive and negative, adding and subtracting, they're opposite operations. Okay? So we're going to talk about this probably on Thursday in next video. So now, that's what we're gonna talk about this week. So let's start with number 1, which is not quite exponential function. This is a rational function, which means fraction. You have fraction. So here we have the time it takes to travel 570 miles is a function of the mean rate of speed r. So here we have the time, it's a function of the distance and the rate, right? And probably everybody know the formula, the distance. So this is the formula. Is rate times the time. Yes, everybody know that. If you want to calculate what is the distance from here to Austin, if you travel, so you're going to calculate that if you travel with 60 miles per hour, and let's say you travel for 1 hour, what is the distance? It's 60 miles, right? So you multiply the distance. To find the distance, you multiply the rate, the speed, times the time. Okay? So from this formula, if I want to find the time, we need to divide by the rate. And you're going to get the time is distance divided by the rate. That's what you have here. So what they're asking me, they give me that. We already know that, right? So what you need to find the time if the rate is 38. So pretty much you plug it in here. So you're going to do 570 divided by 38 is the rate or the speed. And I'm just going to divide those two numbers. And that's going to give me the time. So 570 divided by 38 is 15. I use calculator, so. Okay, everybody good with that? Any questions? Okay, so now number 2. And number 2 is something we already did. Okay, we did this before. Okay, so here number 2, they're asking us find the domain of this function. So what that means? What type of function is this? Fraction, right? Yes? You already know how to find domain. You guys remember how to find domain? Hello?
Just work with the denominator.
Yes, thank you. Yes. What you're doing, you're just going to work with the bottom. When you have fraction, you work with the denominator. And what you're doing, you solve x plus 7, the bottom equals 0. Because the denominator cannot be 0. So I'm going to subtract 7. And you're going to get x is negative. X is not negative 7. So if they're asking you for restriction, that's going to be a restriction. X is not negative 7. But here they're asking for domain, and also it says interval notation. So your interval notation is going to be how? Parentheses, negative infinity, negative 7, union, negative 7 to infinity. So this is how you're going to put your domain. Okay, so there is nothing new so far, yes? Any questions? Everybody good? Okay, so the next one is use synthetic division. So here we're going to talk about division of polynomials. So fraction means division, right? Remember that? Fraction means division. So what they're asking here to do is we need to divide this x4 plus 8x3 minus 4x squared plus x minus 1. You're going to divide it by x plus 1, x minus 1, right? Sorry, x minus 1, not plus 1. So we have to divide. Now, when you divide, these are polynomials, right? You have the first one, the top one has exponent 4, the degree is 4. The bottom one has exponent 1 because x to the first, right? So here they want us to divide two polynomials. How you divide polynomials? There are two different ways to divide, long division and synthetic division. Now, synthetic division is easy way to do that. See, here it says use long division. Okay, now long division and synthetic division, these are the two ways to divide polynomials. Now, we're not going to use long division. I'm going to show you how that works, how it looks like. But long division, it's a longer way of doing it, okay? So that's why you're going to use only synthetic division all the time, because it's easier that way. Make sense? So we're going to use synthetic division all the time. And I'm going to show you the synthetic division. So this is how it works. And this is how they want the answer. The answer, they want quotient plus remainder of a divisor. Okay, so they want the answer in this form. So now, let's see how you divide polynomials with synthetic division. So this is what I'm going to show you. And then I can show you the picture of how long division looks like. It's a little long way. If you want, you can do that, but you don't have to. You can use only synthetic division. And this is how the division looks like. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set up a little table. And that table has a lot of information. So from the top, from the polynomial, I'm going to get the numbers in front of x4, the number in front of x3, in front of x2, in front of x, and number. So you're going to write this first. Exponent. And make sure you write down everything, all the exponents, because you have to put for each exponent. So there is a kind of specific place for each of those exponents. You have to save place for each of those, even if it's not in the polynomial. If it's not there, you have to put 0, but you have to put room for x4, x3, x2, x, and number. And then you're going to look at my polynomial in the top. What I have in front of x4? There is nothing, so that means it's invisible 1, right? What is in front of x3? What is the number? 8, that's right, so I'm going to put 8. What is in front of x squared? It's a -4, -4, okay? What is in front of x? That's right, it's 1. And the number by itself is -1, -1. Okay? Because the number goes with the sign in front. They're going to be -1. That's right. So you're going to get all the numbers from the top. That's how you set up your table. That's your first row. And then in front of that table, you're going to put a number. And that number comes from the bottom. So from the bottom, you're going to see what is next to x. Next to x is -1, right? So if you have given x plus number, you're going to do opposite of this number. So you're always going to get opposite. And what is opposite of -1? +1. So in front of the table, you're going to put +1 from the bottom. And then after that, you're going to calculate your table. And this is how you calculate it. The first step is you're going to bring down the first number. So first number, you're going to drop it down. It's 1. The next step is you're going to multiply this number, you drop down, by the number in front. So I'm going to multiply this by 1. And I'm going to put it here. So 1 times 1 is 1. Okay, then I'm going to add those two numbers. So I'm going to add 8 plus 1 is, what is 8 plus 1? 9. That's right. And then this number down 9, I'm going to multiply by the number in front, which is 1. So 9 times 1 is 9, and I'm going to write it here, 9. Okay? And then I'm going to do the same. I'm going to add those two numbers. -4 plus 9. What is that? 5. That's correct. 5. It's going to be 5. And then I'll do it again. I'm going to multiply by 1. 5 times 1 is 5. That's right. You're going to add it to 1. Is going to give you 6. And then I'm going to multiply this 6 by 1. It's going to be 6, right? Okay. And then I'm going to do 6 added with -1 is going to give me 5. And you're going to stop there. So pretty much you're going to calculate this table. Okay. And this is how you calculate it. The first step is you bring down the first number. So the first number, you don't do anything with the first number. You drop it down. Then you multiply by the number in front, write it up, add it. Multiply by the number in front, write it up, add it. Multiply, add, and fill out the whole table. After you do that, you have everything you need in this table. And this is where everything is in the last row. So the answer is going to be in the last row. So the last number, you get the number in the end of the table is your remainder. So this is your remainder. So the remainder is 5. Okay? And all the numbers in front are going to give you, I'm going to move this forward. All the numbers in front, sorry, I just want to move this down. So the numbers in front are going to be the coefficients in front of the quotient. So all these numbers in front give you the quotient. So we have quotient, we have remainder. and everything we need. So the quotient is, this is how you get the quotient. So you have 1. Now, because look here what you have. I'm going to use different color to show you. Excuse me. Okay, so we have, see, this is in front of x4, right? See, when you divide x4 divided by x, what you're going to get? So look at this. When you have x4 divided by x, what that gives you? Do you know? So you have x to the 4th exponent divided by x. So what is x to the 4th? It's x 4 times by itself, right? X times x 4 times. Okay? When you divide it by x, what you're going to get? 1x cancel up and down, right? So what is left? How many x's are left? With exponent 3, that's right. So when you divide x to the 4 divided by x, you're going to get x cubed. X with exponent 3, that's right. So now, what that means, when I divide x to the 4, this term, by x, it's going to give me x3. So this number down here in my quotient numbers is going to be in front of x3. So I'm going to have 1x3, right? Then x3, when I divide this x3, when I divide it by x, what I'm going to get? X squared, right? It's going to be one number less, always. So I'm going to get 1x3, and then the 9 is going to be in front of x squared. Then the 5 is going to be in front of x, because x squared divided by x is going to be just 1x left. And then 1 in front of x here, when you divide by x, is going to be just 6 left. There is no x left, because x over x is 1, cancel out. So this is what is left, and you're just going to connect it with pluses. Now, if one of those numbers, 1, 9, 5, and 6 is negative, then that's going to be connection between the terms. But if there's nothing, just you assume that they're positive, so you're going to connect them with pluses. Okay? And that's the quotient. Okay? So the quotient is going to be 1x cubed, or just x cubed, plus 9x squared plus 5x plus 6. The remainder is 5. And we know the divisor is what you're dividing by. So what you're dividing by? X minus 1. So that's your divisor. And then you're just going to write the answer. So my final answer, and I'll show you how to put it in WebAssign in a minute. So my final answer is going to be x cubed plus 9x squared plus 5x plus 6. That's my quotient. Plus the remainder, which is just 5, over, see, only the remainder is over the divisor. So 5 over what you're dividing by, x minus 1. So that's what you're going to put here, x minus 1. Let me write it better. Okay, so 5 is over, it's above x minus 1. So that's my final answer. That's how you're going to put your answer. And you put it in WebAssign when you use exponent and fraction. I mean, pretty much you know how to do that, right? Okay? Yes, it's a long answer, but this is the easy way. Okay? So that's how you do it. And if you understand this little table, you're going to have to do this again and again all the time. Yes, we're going to do a lot of examples, and pretty much that's what you're doing today. You're just going to do the synthetic division table. Okay? Now, let's see. If you guys want to have a little break, let's do that. So here, how we're going to do it in, how we're going to plug the answer in WebAssign. And I'm going to do one more example so we can have another example. So this is number 3 from my WebAssign. And this is how you do it. So first I'm going to make my little table from From the top, I'm going to set up my table. So in front of x4, in front of x3, I'm going to get the numbers right. 3, x2, x, and number. Okay, so now what is my number in front of x4? That's 1, and then I have 6, and then -5, and 1, and -1. So these are my numbers. And then in front of the table, I'm going to get the number from the bottom opposite of it. It's -1, so I'm going to put +1 in front of the table. And then you're going to start calculating the table. Okay? So I'm going to bring the first number down. 1 is down, so it's going to be 1. And then I'm going to multiply. 1 times 1 is 1. And I'm going to add it with 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. Then I'm going to multiply 7 times 1 is 7. Write it up, and I'm going to add it. Okay? So bring down 1, multiply by the number in front, so it's going to be times 1. That gives me 1. Add it with 6 is 7, and that I'm going to multiply by 1 again. So that's 7. 7 and -5. When I add 7 and -5, it's going to be just 2. Because 7 minus 5 technically is 2. Try to make it better, okay? Then I'm going to multiply 2 by 1 is 2. And I'm going to add it. 2 plus 1 is 3. And then I multiply 3 times 1 again. You always multiply by the number in front. 3 times 1 is 3. And I'm going to add -1. So 3 minus 1, technically subtract 3 minus 1 is going to be 2. And now, looking at my table, I have everything I need. So the last number is my remainder. So the remainder is 2. That's the remainder. Okay? Hold on, Takisha is asking something. Okay, so now from here we're gonna write the quotient and the remainder. How you do that? We're gonna let me write it for you guys. I multiply by 1. You always multiply by 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Takisha, listen. 3 times 1 is 3. No, it's not negative. It's positive 3. We're adding 3 plus -1. We're adding. We're not multiplying. These two numbers you're adding. You're not multiplying. Which one is negative in the problem? Okay, this one is negative. Yes, but you're going to take always opposite. Okay? So, thank you for asking that. Now, because this is -1, it's going to be +1 because you always take opposite of this number. Opposite. Okay? So whatever is the number in the bottom, you always get the opposite of that number. Okay? Everybody understand that? So all the numbers here we get their right numbers. So get 1, 7, 2, 3, and the remainder is 2. So now how the quotient is going to look like? It's going to be 1 in front of what? X4 become X3. okay, plus 7, x3 become x squared, plus 2x plus 3, and you're going to put plus 2 over x minus 1. So here we have a few things you have to keep in mind. So this is my answer, and I'll show you how to plug it in. So when I click inside the box, the answer box, I'm going to see the math path in the end, and I'm going to use that for exponent. So I'm going to put, you don't need to put 1, you can just put x with exponent 3, and then you have plus 7, x with exponent 2, click at the exponent, and then you need to get down. And then you have plus 2x plus 3. And then you have plus, now you're going to put fraction. So for this part, 2 over x minus 1, you have to press fraction. 2 in the top and x minus 1 in the bottom, like that. Okay? So that's how you enter your answer. Let me clean this so I can see. Okay? So your answer should look exactly like that. So what you're doing, you're using the this for the exponent, this fraction. I mean, you used to that already. So that's it. And I'm going to check it for you. Okay? Any questions? Okay? Any questions on this? So here, what you have to remember, when you do divide polynomial with synthetic division, from the top, you're going to get the top row in your table. And from the denominator of the fraction, you're going to get opposite of the number, always opposite of the number. And then you calculate the table when you bring the first number and then bring down the first number, multiply by in front, add, and so on. And then you get the exponents. So from the top, you always subtract 1. So if this is x4 in the top, become x3 in the bottom. Always minus 1. Okay? So let's go ahead. We're going to do more of those. So don't worry. We're going to do more of those. Okay. Next one is number 4. I'm going to move it down here. Okay. So number 4. Number 4, they ask us to do the same. So we're going to do again the same. They give us polynomial. They want us to find P of 1, the quotient, and the remainder. So what is P of 1? Let's start with that. So P of 1, if you remember from function, P of 1 is pretty much plug it in 1 for each x. So P of 1 is following your function and replace x with 1. So I'm going to get here 5x to the 4th minus 3x cubed. Just follow the function, plus 6x squared minus 6. And then what you're going to put for x? You're going to put the number given here. You're going to put 1. So I'm going to put 1 for each x. And then the calculator is going to give me the answer. Now, 1 with any exponent is 1. So technically what I have here is 5 minus 3 plus 6 minus 6. That's what I have. Because 1 cube is 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 5 times 1 is 5, right? So all this 1 with exponent doesn't matter technically. Okay, 6 minus 6 is this to cancel. 5 minus 3, the answer is 2. Everybody see that? So when I plug it in the number for x, the answer is 2. Okay? And then you're going to find the quotient and the remainder the same way we did with synthetic division. And this is what you have. We're going to use the given polynomial for the, so technically here what they're saying, we don't have exactly divide this by this. We don't have to, so here you don't have divide this by this. What you have is going to be, here they're technically asking divide this, divide by x minus 1. How I know that? Because they give me this 1. So P of 1 tells me that I'm dividing by x minus 1. Okay? So what you're going to do to find the quotient in the remainder, you're going to do the synthetic division the same way. Okay? So how you do it the same way? You're going to set up the little table we have. So we have x to the 4, x3, x2, x, and number. We're going to start from the highest exponent all the way down to the number. Then I'm going to look at my coefficients. In front of x4 is 5. In front of x3 is -3. In front of x squared is 6. What is in front of x? We don't have x in that polynomial. Even if you don't have it, you have to put a number for x which is 0. There's 0 x's. So it's very important that you put number for each exponent. And then the number by itself is -6. Okay? So we're going to get from the polynomial, we're going to get all the coefficients, all the numbers. And then in front of the table, what is the number you're going to put in front of the table?
Dr. Gambor.
Yes.
So you said how P of x would equal x minus 1. When would it be a different number?
What different number?
Like the denominator? How
Yes, that's the
x would be
denominator.
x minus 1. When would it be a different number?
No, it's not a different number.
It will always be x minus 1?
Yes, that's correct. Yes. So if they give you the number 1, always going to be x minus 1. Yes. If they give you -5, you're going to divide by x plus 5. Make sense? Okay? So it's always opposite. So remember, thank you for asking that. Remember, if you have given x plus number, x minus number, in the table is going to be opposite, which is 1, right? If they give you P of number, it's going to be the same number in front. Okay? Everybody understand how to set up the table? Any questions? Okay. So now let's go ahead and calculate the table. So what you're doing, you're going to bring down the 5. And then you're going to multiply by the number in front. So it's going to be 5 times 1 is 5. And you're going to add -3. So 5 plus -3 is what? 2. Then you're going to multiply by 1 one more time. That's going to be 2. And then you're going to add 6 plus 2 is 8. Then you're going to multiply by 1 one more time. You're going to write it up here. 8 times 1 is 8. You're going to add 0, so it's still 8. Then you're going to multiply by 1. That's also 8. And 8 plus -6 is 2. Okay? So that's going to be the table we're going to get. The last number is the remainder. And all these numbers are going to give me the quotient. Okay? So, what is the quotient? I'm going to get the quotient from the numbers in the end. So my quotient is going to be, what, 5? Okay, hold on, I need to move it somewhere because it's moving here. So my quotient is going to be 5 X, what is the exponent for X in the 5? 3, that's right, so it's going to be X3. Then the next one is going to be plus 2X, what is the exponent for X? 3, when you subtract 1, it's going to be 2. Then plus 8, X squared become X to the first, so just X. And then X disappears, so it's going to be just plus 8. So this is my quotient. Okay? And the remainder is going to be 2. Okay? So what is important here is, if you notice what we get, the remainder is 2, and when you plug it in, the number is also 2. And always those two numbers are going to be the same, always. So if you plug the number in front of the table for each X, you're going to get the same number as the remainder. It's always going to be the same numbers. The same answer you're going to get. Okay? That's important. Now, look into the next one, number 5. They're asking, use the factor theorem to decide whatever the following statement is true or false. And they're saying that X minus 2 is a factor of this one. Now, let's stop for a second. What factor means? So, thinking about numbers, okay? So, can you give me the factors of the number 6? What are the factors of 6?
2, 3, yeah,
1
2 and 3.
6. Yes, that's right. Yes, 1, 6, 2, and 3. Yes, these are the factors. How you know if they are factors? When you divide 6 by 2, what you're going to get? 3 with remainder what? 0, right? So if you divide two numbers and you get remainder 0, that means what you're dividing by, it's a factor of the first number, right? So that's what you're going to use. So something is a factor when the remainder is 0. Then you have a factor, right? So now, what you need to do here, you can just, you need to check that. If the remainder is 0, then it's a factor, okay? So that's what you need to check. And how you can check that? You can do synthetic division and see what is your remainder. Or, what else you can do? You can plug it in the number from the table. You can do the first way when you plug it in. So what is the number in front of the table? If you divide by X minus 2, what you're going to put in front of the table?
2.
Positive 2. Okay. So you can make a table. You can do synthetic division with 2 in front. Calculate the table. If the remainder is 0, the answer is yes. If the remainder is not 0, then it's no. Or you can do it like this way. You can plug it in for each X here. You can replace all the X's with 2. If you get 0, again, it's a factor. If you don't get 0, it's not a factor. Okay? So you can do it two different ways because the answers are going to be the same. If you plug it in, and if you use the table, synthetic division, both of the answers are going to be the same. So let's see how you want to do this. Let's say I want to do the table. So let's do the synthetic division. So I'm going to set up my table here. So what I have in front of the table is 2. My X is X cubed is the highest. Then I have X squared, X, and number. And I'm going to calculate this table real quick. So what is the number in front of X cubed? The number in front of X cubed is 1. What is in front of X squared? Is negative 1. In front of X is 2. And the last number is negative 8. Then after that, I'm going to calculate it. So I'm going to bring the first number down, which is 1. 1 times 2, I multiply by the number in front is 2. When I add 2 and negative 1 is going to be 1. I'm going to multiply by 2 again, which is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. And I'm going to multiply 4 by 2, give me 8. And 8 minus 8 is going to be 0. So when you get remainder 0, what that means? The answer is yes. It's a factor, right? Okay, everybody understand that? So that's one way of doing it. We get remainder 0. That means x minus 2 is a factor. Okay, so for the next question, I need to go with a few terms here. Okay, so if I have a number in front of the table, which give me remainder 0, that means x minus, so if I have this number 2 in front, which give me remainder 0, that means the number 2 is a 0 of the polynomial, and x minus 2 is a factor of the polynomial, right? So these are the terms. Something, the number is a 0, x minus 2 is a factor. Now you notice they're opposite, right? This is positive 2 in front of the table. This is minus 2 in the factor. Okay, the factor is x minus 2. Okay, so that's what you're going to use for the next one, number 6 and number 7. Because number 6 and 7, they ask us to do backwards. So they give me the zeros. So the zeros are given. So we're doing it backwards. They give me the 0. They want me to find the polynomial. Okay? So what are the zeros? The zeros are negative 3 and 8. What that means? That means if I have my little table, and if I put in front of the table negative 3, and I calculate it, I'm going to get remainder 0, right? If I put 8 in front of the table, the remainder also is going to be 0, yes? That's what that means, okay? So now, from the given 0, can you find what is the polynomial, what I'm going to put here? So you need to think backwards. So let me give you an example with numbers. So the question I'm going to ask you is this. Okay, I have a number in mind. You don't know what number I have in mind, but this number has factors 2 and 5. So what is the number which have factors 2 and 5? 10. That's right. Good job. How you get 10? You multiply 2 and 5, right? Yes, that's right. You multiply 2 times 5 or 5 times 2. You're going to get 10. So that's what you're going to do here also. From the zeros, you're going to get the factors of the polynomial. And then you're going to multiply the factors and you're going to get the polynomial. Okay? So from the zeros, can you get the factors? What are the factors of the polynomial? So look at the number 5 above. If 2 is 0, what is the factor? X minus 2. So if negative 3 is a factor, if negative 3 is a 0, what is the factor? Yes, x plus 3. X plus 3 is the factor. So x plus 3 is my factor. Opposite. If 8 is a factor, if 8 is a 0, what is the factor?
x minus 8.
Absolutely, yes. Okay, so this is what you're doing, exactly what you have here. 2, it's a 0. X minus 2, it's a factor. Okay, see, negative 3, it's 0. X plus 3 is factor. You do opposite. You put x next to the number and change the sign. If 8 is a 0, x minus 8, you switch the sign. You put x next to it and switch the sign. Okay? Everybody understand that? So it's always opposite. 0 to factor, it's always opposite. Okay? That's the rule. And this is all behind the factor theorem, the remainder theorem, and all these theorems. It's proof. So take it as a rule. So that's the rule. If the 0 is 5, the factor is x minus 5. If the 0 is 7, the factor is x minus 7. It's always opposite. Okay? And now, if I know the two factors, how I'm going to find the polynomial? I'm going to multiply those two. So how you multiply x plus 3 and x minus 8? I'm going to FOIL. Or you can just distribute. I'm going to do it step by step so you can see. I multiplied x by averaging. So it's going to be x times x minus 8. And then I multiply 3 times averaging. And then you're going to simplify. So multiply again. X times x times negative 8. So that's x squared. X times negative 8 is what? Negative 8x. And then you multiply here everything. Plus 3x and minus 24. And then you're going to combine. You're going to combine these like terms. So you're going to combine negative 8 plus 3x. So my final answer is going to be x squared. Then minus 8x plus 3x is going to be minus 5x, right? And then minus 24. This is the polynomial which I put it in front in the table and put negative 3 in front, is going to give me remainder 0. Okay? Or if I put 8, it's going to give me remainder 0. Okay? Now we're going to do this one more time. So in number 7, we're going to do the same. We're going to have, they give us, we have given the 2 zeros. Actually, in this case, there are 3 zeros. So these are the zeros given. And the zeros are negative 2, 0, and 2. These are 3 zeros given. And if you have 3 zeros given, that means the polynomial is going to have degree 3. The one before was 2 zeros given, the degree is going to be 2. So if you have the highest exponent of the polynomial, give you how many zeros, how many solutions you're going to have. So now we're doing the same. From the zeros, you're going to get the factors. And factors are going to include the x, and you're going to change the sign. So if you have 0 is negative 2, the factor, you're going to put x next to it and change the sign. So it's going to be x plus 2. So the negative 2, 0 is going to give me factor x plus 2, always opposite. Then I'm going to do the next one. The next 0 is 0, the number 0. So I'm going to just put x minus 0 or plus 0, doesn't matter. And then we have one more 0, which is the number 2, positive 2. So the 2 give me factor x minus 2, opposite of it. So these are the 3 factors. Now, when I multiply those 3 factors, I'm going to get the polynomial. Okay? So now, looking at those 3 factors, the easiest way to multiply them is when I multiply these 2 first, and then because x minus 0 is just x, and then the answer multiplied by x. So pretty much I'm gonna do x. I can move them around because it's multiplication. And then I'm gonna multiply x plus 2x minus 2. So I'm gonna multiply these two first. And then the answer I get, I'm gonna multiply by x. So we're gonna multiply when you FOIL, right? Or we can just distribute. So I'm multiplying x times everything. So it's gonna be x times x minus 2. And then 2 times everything. Plus 2 times x minus 2. And then you're going to distribute again. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. 2 times x is plus 2x. And 2 times negative is negative 4. And then you're going to combine these two. They actually cancel out because 2x minus 2x is 0. So when I multiply x squared minus 4. And then this should be multiplied by x one more time. So we're going to get x cubed plus 4x. I'm sorry, not plus, minus 4x. Okay, minus 4x. And this should be my polynomial. And this polynomial is with degree 3, it's cubed. Okay? And this polynomial has zeros, negative 2, 0, and 2. What that means? That means if I take, for example, 2, I'm going to use the last one, and if I replace x with 2, the answer is going to be 0. So let's check that for you just to see. So I'm going to replace all the x's with 2. So I have x cubed minus 4x. And in the place of x, I'm going to put 2. So let's check it out. What is 2 cubed? 2 cubed is 8. Minus 4 times 2 is also 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. That's why the number 2 is a 0 of this polynomial, because if I replace x with 2, I'm going to get 0. Okay? So that's how to find the polynomial with the given 0. You go to factors and then you multiply the factor. So here we have number 8, which is the last one for today. And they want us to do synthetic division again. And we need to write the answer in different forms. So pretty much you have to do the table. But the answer should be divisor times quotient plus remainder. So this is different. Just the way you put your answer is different. But what you're doing is going to be absolutely the same way. So what you have to do, you have to set up your table, right? So we're going to start setting up the table with the highest exponent, which is x3. So I'm going to write x3, x2, x, and number. Always write this down first before you get the numbers from the polynomial, because if one of the exponent is missing, you still have to put the 0 there. You have place number for each exponent. So now you're going to get the numbers from the polynomial. So in front of x3 is 3. In front of x squared is the number 6, positive 6. In front of x is negative 5. The number by itself is 10. So you're going to get the number in front of the table. So what is the number in front of the table? Because you're dividing by x minus 5, what you're going to put in front of the table? Positive 5, that's right. So from negative 5, you're going to put positive 5 in front. And then you're going to do the calculation. So the first number always go down, you don't do anything, so it's 3 down. And then you multiply by 5, because in front you have 5. So times 5, it's going to be 15. And then you're going to add. What is 15 plus 6? 21. Okay? And then 21, you're going to multiply it by 5 again. And that's going to be 105, right? And 105 plus -5 or just subtract 5 is going to be 100. And then that 100, you're going to multiply it by 5, it's going to be 500. And when you add 10, it's going to be 510. Now 510 is my remainder, right? So from there, you're going to get your answer. So 510 is my remainder. And all these numbers are going to give me the quotient. Now, what is my quotient? It's going to be what? 3, what? X3 become what? X squared. You always subtract 1. Then plus 21. Now, x squared in the top becomes just x. And then plus 100. X disappear. So it's just going to be 100. So this is my quotient, this is my remainder. So now I have to see how the answer should look like. So my final answer is going to be, I'm not going to have enough room to put it in, but I'm going to write it above. So my final answer is divisor. What is the divisor? What you're dividing by? So the divisor is x minus 5. And then in parentheses, I'm going to put the quotient. What is my quotient? Just copy all of this. 3x squared plus 21x plus 100 in parentheses. Then it says plus the remainder. What is the remainder? 510. Okay? So that's my final answer. You just leave it like that. You don't do anything, just leave it like that. So this is the lecture for today. And we're going to continue next time with number 9.